Hey everyone, welcome back to In the Alley. My name is Cody. Glad you guys are back for another video. Final game on tap for the second week of the Indoor Football League. We've got the Vegas Nighthawks traveling west, or southwest, I guess, to Oceanside, California, where we are going to open our second new arena in the league, Front Wave Arena. We'll talk about that in a bit, but let's get into the preview of Vegas at San Diego. Alrighty, so Vegas at San Diego, we have a very late kickoff. We got a 9:05 p.m. Central Time kickoff on the Indoor Football League Network. Subscribe, pay the money, don't pay the money, whatever you want to do. I'll always be talking about it. So anyway, talk season leaders. Again, probably do something with this for week 3, whether it's impact players, depending on if we get stats, what have you. But let's talk our passing leaders. No games have been played between these two teams, so Jerome Johnson and Nate Davis will be your starting quarterbacks more than likely, barring any kind of setbacks. Your rushing leaders would most likely be Trayvon Van for San Diego and Antonio Wimbush for Vegas. And then for receivers, I've put Quentin Randolph. I know that, and we'll talk about it in the 25-man roster, Vegas has a plethora of wide receivers you could choose from. Same thing with San Diego, but I put Quentin Randolph for Vegas. I put Journey Sloan for San Diego. Heading over to the injury report for Vegas, Jonathan Johnson has been put on the PUP list. I can't remember. I had him on there. I couldn't remember the date that I had written down, or I didn't write the date down, I guess. So he's just on the PUP list. For San Diego, they have quite a bit. They've got Jackson Cravens, Tariq Lewis, and Drayshawn Hudson all on short-term injured reserve, and Adrian Tolbert on season injured reserve. Looking over at the game odds here, when I pulled them, over 84.5, under 84.5 is your over-under, and then San Diego is plus 1.5 at home, so Vegas is favored by 1.5 points. Money line slightly juiced to the Nighthawks, minus 120, and plus 100 for the Strike Force at home. As we have talked, this game is going to be in a brand new arena. I mean brand new, to the Indoor Football League. The arena itself has been in play, I think, with indoor soccer and other sports, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I think indoor lacrosse or something, or indoor basketball. I think the G League plays there. So Oceanside, California, Front Wave Arena. I'm excited to see how it looks. Our head-to-head, we are tied at 3. Their last meeting between Vegas and San Diego, week 17 of 2024, with San Diego winning it 60-59. Let's go take a look at those 25-man rosters, bet and prediction, and that's really it. So let's go take a look at all that stuff. All right, let's take a look at our 25-man rosters for both teams. Away side first, as always, starting with Vegas. Jerome Johnson, MVP of last year. He is most likely your starting quarterback, again, barring any sort of setback. Antonio Wimbush will be your starting running back, and then backup quarterback Jaden Delora, former Arizona Wildcat. Quick side note, they're just random teams in college football I watch when I'm not watching Nebraska. Arizona was one of them a few years ago when Delora was the quarterback. Very fun team. Anyway, over to the wide receiving core, and boy howdy does Vegas have quite a bit of wide receivers. Caleb Hawley, Tamarian Terry, Quentin Randolph, Daquan Dudley, CJ Wyndham, Jalen Robinson, and Phoenix Sproles. So in the mix of rookies, you also have 3 returning wide receivers, Caleb Hawley, Quentin Randolph, and CJ Wyndham. Coming over from Jacksonville and Duke City is Tamarian Terry, so that just adds a 4th burner to that. And then you add in Daquan Dudley, Jalen Robinson, and Phoenix Sproles. So that wide receiving core stacked to the max. I'm sure any of those guys could probably spell Antonio Wimbush if he needs a break, so you can see some of those rookies maybe getting in there in some high motion sets, or maybe some jet sweeps, kind of stuff like that, or high motion handoffs. We'll just kind of see how it goes. For the offensive line, it is stacked again. Desmond Bland comes over, former San Diego Strike Force himself. He has been with the New Orleans Saints in the NFL. He's had a tryout. He's been in the Arena Football League. He's been kind of all around. Very, very good offensive lineman, good pickup. Zach Fortier, I believe that's how it's pronounced, correct me if I'm wrong, is part of the rookie offensive line. But other than that, it's still veterans. Kevin Toote, Moses Mallory, all IFL accolades for them. There may be all rookie team accolades too. And they're returning as well. So I know Kevin Toote, I believe, was in the UFL or XFL or something at some point. And yeah, it's a very good offensive line, very good skill positions offense for Vegas. Stacked. To add to that, stacked defense. Maurice Jackson, Claude Davis, Lorenzo Hernandez, Lee Autry on your defensive line. All four of those guys played last season. Claude Davis with Sioux Falls for a little bit and then over to Vegas, but the other three as well, all with Vegas last year. Being with Vegas all last year as well, Mikel Calhoun, he is returning for that linebacker spot. And then in the secondary, James Caesar and Darius Williams both return for another season. And then Justin Terry, Gleason Sprewell, and Lamont Wade round out that secondary for Vegas. So a little bit of rookie mixed in there for the defensive back position. But overall, a very, very stacked roster. Kicker is Dante Brown from Fort Hays State. Go MIAA teams. And that's really it. I mean, they have to replace Kevin Macias, who's at Tucson. But overall, like I said, Vegas, very, very talented roster. Over to San Diego, and they've got some players too. Nate Davis and Rudy Johnson at the quarterback position. Nate Davis, again, just an ageless wonder, back for another year. Rudy Johnson, we'll see if he is the Swiss Army knife that he was kind of towards the middle to end of that season, playing quarterback, wide receiver, running back, pretty much kind of doing it all as the season progressed. They do have two running backs, Trayvon Van and Larry McCammon. And then also to mention for San Diego, they did sign Adam Shackelford as a coach to be a run game coordinator. We'll see if the running game adds a little bit more of a dynamic to this offense instead of just a straight air raid style. To the wide receivers for that air raid quote-unquote style, Journey Sloan is over from Duke City, Dallas Daniels over from Massachusetts, Mike Kerrigan over from Tucson, and obviously other places as well. And Joe Nowden, I believe, former Bay Area Panther. I don't think he played last year, but I think a couple years ago he was with Bay Area for a couple of games. So pretty good, experienced wide receiving core, exactly what Nate Davis needs, just more wide receivers. It just seems like Davis has to reset wide receivers every year. Josh Castro, Jalen Booth, Jake Sines, and Christian Olmstead round out the offensive line. Josh Castro comes over from Bay Area. Jalen Booth, I believe, is re-signed for another year. Sines and Olmstead are rookies. On the defensive side of the ball, Wallace Cowens comes over from Northern Arizona. Panea Moa, Ben Moa, he is re-signed for another season. Jalen Joyner, Jaquez Mabin, and Currat Garland are signed. I believe they are all rookies, if I'm not mistaken. Linebacker Roy C. comes over from the dormant Frisco Fighters, and Frederick Tompkins is signed as another linebacker. And then a defensive back position. This is another stacked position for San Diego. Jericho Flowers comes over from Vegas. Keyshawn Walker's resigned. Tycorian Brown is resigned. Atoa Fox is resigned. And Elijah Reed comes over from the dormant Sioux Falls Storm. So again, all indoor experience when it comes to that. All indoor talent. Atoa Fox, Elijah Reed, Jericho Flowers, I mean, what have you. There's a lot of good players. And I think Keyshawn Walker might have had accolades at one point too. And to round it out, Ernesto Lacayo comes over from dormant Duke City. Deuce Machine. He is very, very good, and he can add points when needed and when he's called upon. So there are your two rosters. A lot of indoor talent. A lot of talent to go around for both sides. So with that, let's go take a look at our bet, our prediction, and we get on out of here. All right. So bet and prediction, and kind of talking about the game, how I think it might go. I have Vegas -1.5. My reasoning for that, I picked them to win the championship. I think with everything that they returned, practically returning an entire defense, practically returning an entire offense, a 2-point conversion away from going to the Western Conference Championship last season, they were really, really talented when it came to what they have, 10 or 11 wins last year. It escapes me, but very talented team to bring that back, to try and run it back for another season. We will see how it goes. Now, San Diego is no slouch themselves. They have reloaded themselves up with all the departures that they have had. Wide receiving core is brand new, but they all have experience. The secondary is very experienced, and they resigned most of it. Defensive line has been retooled a little bit. Offensive line has been retooled a little bit. We'll see if the running game comes to fruition for them this year if they want to do that. However, I do think Vegas has just a little bit more of an advantage. Yes, they are on the road, but that doesn't mean that is home field advantage, as this arena is brand new. So we'll see what kind of ruckus that San Diego can provide for that home environment. I think Vegas right now is trying to, just treat this as a business trip. Jerome Johnson with an MVP under his belt. I look for him to really do that dual threat thing that he does, run, pass, and he's got a plethora of wide receivers to go to. Not to mention Antonio Wimbush coming back for another season. I think that offense is just stacked. I think both these secondaries are going to be pretty good. I do think it to be kind of a battle back and forth. I don't think it's going to be super low scoring. I don't think it's going to be super high scoring. We have an over-under of 84.5. I think we're going to get pretty dang close to that. Still a smidge under. My prediction on this one, 44-40. I think Vegas pulls this victory out. Now, I think this is going to be a back and forth battle. I just think Vegas makes one less mistake than San Diego. And all it could take is one mistake. But I do think these teams kind of battle back and forth, feel each other out. It could be a lower scoring game, but I do think it is close. That's the reason why this spread is only 1.5. Overall, I think Vegas does pull this out in the end. I am not surprised one bit if San Diego wins, as, again, the first couple of weeks of the season, it's building chemistry and really getting into that game action. I think the away side does pull out this victory, though, but could be wrong. So with that being said, let's go wrap everything up. Get out of here. And that is it for the Vegas and San Diego preview. I am ready for this one, standalone game, just like on Saturday, which, hey, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone because I will do my recaps and stuff like that. But, yeah, I mean, if you've already gone and seen the box scores, there you have it. Try not to spoil this stuff. So, yeah, I don't want to put that stuff in here. But standalone game, just like we had last week with San Antonio and Tulsa, or Fishers and Northern Arizona. So all eyes will be on this game. I look forward to be a good game. Like I said, I don't know if San Diego wants to actually try and run the ball a little bit, if that's an added dynamic. Vegas just looks to be the same old Vegas of last year. Both teams made the playoffs. Both teams won double-digit games. It should be a nice little slugfest between the two. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But it added experience to the coaching staff, added experience to the roster for San Diego. We'll just see. I'm excited for it. So with that, I'm going to take off here, guys. I love and appreciate you. As always, if you want to, like, comment, share, subscribe. I get ahead of myself talking that fast. Whatever you want to do, doesn't matter to me. Does not bother me whatsoever. I love doing this stuff. I'm glad we're in the season so we can talk about this stuff, have comments, feedback, back and forth, what have you. So I appreciate it. All the love, all the support, whatever you guys want to do. So with that, I'm going to take off here. As always, love, appreciate, just like I just said. So, see ya.